Welcome to Perry Park for the River City Derby between Brisbane Strikers and Brisbane City in the National Premier League's Queensland. Round 9 action brought to you via the Football Queensland Facebook page and YouTube channel. So thank you so much for joining us wherever you're watching around the world or around the state. It's got many labels, this match. Some refer to it as the other NSL derby here in Queensland. Perhaps the more appropriate moniker this season will be the Battle of the Bids, as both clubs build their case to rejoin the top table of football here in Australia. The expression of interest deadline not until the 24th of May, with the confirmation of shortlisted bidders not expected until June. So there's plenty of time for speculation to run wild here in the River City and across the country as to which clubs will be joining the Hyundai A-League. On the field, well, in recent years there's only been one powerhouse in this part of the world, and that's the reigning two-time National Premier League Queensland Premiers and National Grand Finalists, Brisbane Strikers. They've got a stranglehold on this fixture. They've not lost to Brisbane City since the 19th of August 2014, and that's the only defeat Strikers have suffered since the formation of the National Premier League in 2013. Strikers have won 7 of the 10 encounters, and after their 5-0 demolition of South West Queensland Thunder before Easter, are firm favourites to extend that run tonight. The two teams shake hands prior to the match. 3 changes for the Strikers from their Maundy Thursday victory over the South West Queensland Thunder. A late change as well. Michael Lee was expected to start, or at least sit on the bench, but he has succumbed to the back injury that he suffered earlier on last month, and Joel Anich has come onto the bench to replace him alongside Tomislav Merisic and Josh Matcham, all 3 of whom played in the under-20s. Dennis Yongule, Braden Steele and Mason Blizzard all miss out. But it's still a very strong Strikers team. One change for City as well from a fortnight ago in a squad that has beset with injuries over the last couple of weeks. The one change is Nathan Beagley coming in for Liam Coulpit. Beagley was named against Sunshine Coast a fortnight ago, but he fell ill just prior to kick-off and was replaced by Coulpit. He played in the 5-2 victory for Brisbane City's under-20s last night here at Perry Park. As I mentioned, it's a squad that's been beset by injury. Both Hugo brothers are out, as is Lockie Sayers and Bon Scott, and that means John Cosmina has been forced to shuffle his deck a little in recent weeks. But there has been some stability over the past fortnight, which is probably just as well. Cosy is in England with Gregory Terrace ahead of the GPS season kicking off. So his assistant, Phil Calabrese, is taking charge tonight. A bit warmer here than in the United Kingdom today. It's a high of 28 degrees in the southeast. As referee Matt Skinner gets us underway. Strikers kicking from right to left in their yellow shirts with the blue sleeves. And that's a nice looking ball over the top towards Trent Clulo. Clulo, who scored in the 1-1 draw here, the end of the 2016 season. He's Hiroki Mori. He's been able to score plenty of goals, but he is dispossessed by Nathan Bird, who's making his 99th National Premier League's Queensland appearance for Brisbane City tonight. His defensive partner, or one-time defensive partner, Nathan Bird, is playing in the midfield tonight. Greg King is making his 50th appearance for Brisbane City. Of course, perhaps better known among Strikers fans as the man who made 59 appearances between 2013 and 15 for the two-time Premiers. It's a nice interplay between Bird and young Reece Raymond, but it's forced all the way back to Jake Clancy wearing the number 20 shirt in the Brisbane City goal. And here is the aforementioned Greg King, who spoke during the week. It's a bit of a heavy back pass to Clancy, but Clancy shows his exceptional footwork and launches that ball forward towards Nathan Beagley, who will be getting forward from left back. Tall, rangy young man, just 18 years old. Nice work over on that far side by Meyer, but he's dispossessed, and here comes strikers. That's poor, and here is Nathan Bird, and Bird tries to put that ball in towards Seiji Shizuno, doesn't quite get to him. Kai Bolton was there lurking as well. Free kick given to Brisbane City though, and an opportunity early on to deliver a ball into the box. You can see the tall, rangy figure of Tom Alton. That's him with the long blonde hair and the headband, just patrolling along the edge of the edge of the box. It's Beagley's in there as well towards the back post. It's a disappointing ball in by Meyer, and he'll be disappointed with himself, and it's an opportunity to break now for Zach Maltby. And a little bit of afters between Maltby and King there. It's been ignored for the most part by the referee, but Zach Maltby just letting Greg King know that he's there. Did score against Brisbane City in the Kappa Silver Boot semi-final victory for Strikers earlier in pre-season. Did Zach Maltby. Blessed with tremendous pace, the man with the 24 on the back of his shirt. It's Halliday linking with Sibatuara, who's wearing the unfamiliar number of number 7 today. Normally wearing the number 11 shirt, but that's changed this evening. Really is perfect conditions for flowing football here this evening. So the sun dips down behind the Bill Waddell stand here at Perry Park. Same towards Seiji Shizuno, that ball, but Mike McGowan got there first. City able to mop up for the back. The only instruction from John Cosmina being to start quickly to his charges from the UK, and that's fairly apt advice. In the last 4 games, City have scored first and haven't lost in doing so. The first 3 games of the season, it was another story completely. Conceding first has meant that City tend to lose as Strikers move forward. Here's McLean, tried to play that ball through. It's still there. It was a shot that cut away from Palmer. There was a block, and that's a nice little ball from Kai Bolton, and Sibatuara skins Hiroki Omori, and that's some nice breakout play from Brisbane City after that dangerous chance in their own penalty area. City in their change strip of the dark blue, of course. I'm sure you've already noticed. It's Beagley forced back, and that's a disappointing ball. Got nowhere near Nathan Bird. Goes out on the halfway line. Yeah, the scoring first in this fixture, not necessarily the best thing to do. Historically, in 3 of the 5 games in which both sides have scored, the team that scored first has gone on to lose. Here are Strikers looking to make that first breakthrough. That's a lovely ball towards the back post, and Palmer! Oh, he headed that one just wide, but he had a glorious opportunity to open the scoring. Free header at the back post. It's been put under a little bit of pressure from Reece Raymond, and it was probably just enough. Clancy goes short to Tom Alton. Did play for 2 years as a junior at Strikers. I think James Mayer may have been offside, although it did look like Misuk Park kept her flag down. You can never tell with the advantage that's often played by linesmen in these situations. He was certainly flirting with that offside line. That's a lovely ball, and again flirting with the offside line was Palmer. This time he just got the wrong side of it. But that was a warning for Brisbane City. Visitors caught out a little bit there by the pace of Ryan Palmer and that movement in the midfield by their hosts. Raymond chooses to go all the way back to Jake Clancy. He's still just 19 years old, making his 13th appearance in the senior team for Brisbane City. Mackay native. Here's Palmer, who had that glorious opportunity. Can't keep the ball in over on that far side. City win today. They're currently in 7th spot. They will potentially jump all the way up into 4th, depending on how other results go. Strikers just 3 points ahead in that final spot, and it's a final spot that Strikers will be looking to be in at the end of the season, completing or continuing their remarkable run of 13 years in a row across 3 different competitions, the Brisbane Premier League, the Queensland State League and the National Premier Leagues, in which they have made the finals. That's a lovely interplay to Shizuno. The flag was up on this near side correctly, you'd have to say. Nevertheless, Shizuno blasted it wide under a not unreasonable amount of pressure from Michael McGowan. Former Port Melbourne man, who did, of course, have a spell at Redlands. He was a captain in the grand final win here at this very ground in Perry Park, 2016. So he puts that ball forward and a little bit caught out, Tom Alton there, by Palmer. And Palmer's run. Jake Clancy with the header. He's not afraid to come out of his box. And then James Myers a little bit upset. Thought initially with Nathan Bird, but he appears to be directing his eye towards Matt Skinner. Perhaps he felt he was being pulled back. It was hard to see in the malaise of bodies. That was the midfield there. Sibatoir almost closes down Michael Angus, but the Strikers captain was still able to get that ball away, and the hosts looking to build now over on that far side is Greg Hensley, stalwart of this Brisbane Strikers defence. Another raking ball by McGowan. Finds his man over on that far side. Lovely football. Messenger. Angus. Closed down by Halliday, and that's good work from Scott Halliday, forcing his more learned opponent back, and then Kai Bolton intercepts that McGowan ball ahead of Hiro Omori, but unfortunately for him, he was unable to keep it in, and Strikers will once again build from the back with McGowan and Hensley. Very experienced centre-back pairing, and you'd have to say across the board the Strikers are the more experienced team, and it's partly that longevity and consistency that has led to their unrivalled and unparalleled success here in Queensland over the last decade or more. That's a nice tackle though by Reece Raymond. Hiroki Omori, as he so often does, mopping up the scraps. McGowan, City forcing Strikers back, but still able to get that ball away. Looked like a handball there by Michael Angus. That's certainly how referee Matt Skinner saw it. Referee sponsored by Total Tools here in the National Premier League's Queensland. It's desperately difficult trying to think of an acceptable pun for Total Tools that's not going to get me in trouble with the powers that be. So I'll leave it at that. Ball taken relatively quickly towards Scott Halliday, who caught the Strikers' defence napping, and they've won a corner, have the visitors here at Perry Park. Just 10 minutes or so gone here in this encounter. Still goalless if you've just joined us. It'll be Seiji Shizuno who will saunter over to take this corner on a pitch that does look like it's been brought in a little bit from recent years here at Perry Park. The surface is absolutely immaculate. I walked across it a couple of times prior to kick-off, and it's certainly the best it's been for a long while here at Perry Park. Shizuno delivers the ball in. It's comfortably dealt with by Nathan Archbold, former Charleston City Blues keeper. Made 3/4 of a century of appearances down in northern New South Wales. Raymond deals with that ball to stop Maltby from breaking free, but it's come back to Maltby. That was untidy from the youngster, and Nathan Bird will be able to mop up, but good tracking back from Maltby. And Scott Halliday, that's a lovely ball by Scott Halliday towards Kai Bolton. Again, Archbold there to mop up, and it's quickly released to Hiroki Omori. Omori under a bit of pressure, but does well. May have lost a yard or so of pace over the years, Hiroki Omori, but he's still a hugely exciting player here in the National Premier League Queensland. There's Maltby. He's picking up the scraps on the edge of the penalty area. It's lifted towards Hiroki Omori. Can he control it? No, he can't. And the flag was up anyway. Just allowed that ball to skid off his chest. Japanese left back, but never matter. Flag was already up and Clancy will take the goal kick, or free kick, sorry, from exactly the same position as he would with a goal kick. Playing between himself and Tom Alton. And here's King. Shizuno dropping deep, and that's a ball out towards Kai Bolton. He's quick when he gets a run of steam up, but the experience of Hiroki Omori doing just enough there. Well, Beagley was caught out a little bit, but you can see the pace of young Nathan Beagley making his first start, the 18-year-old. Both his previous appearances have come from the bench. He did play a lot in pre-season, though, and impressed John Cosmina with his ability to get forward. Striker's leaving a big gap down the middle that Shizuno was able to claim the ball from, but it was a combination of Messenger and Hensley and Michael Angus running him off the ball. Here is James Mayer, and Mayer goes down very heavily. Very heavily, and he's still down. The referee has given a goal kick, Matt Skinner. That looked to be a little bit uncomfortable, though, for James Mayer, the former Brisbane Roar star, who won 2 championships and a premiership with the local A-League team before embarking on a remarkable career around Asia. He spent a season with Pune in the I-League in India, and then moved to Myanmar and played with Yadamambon, where he did win the Myanmar Premiership 2014, and then 2015-16 played for Eastern Club in Hong Kong, where he also won the Premiership. So he's won Premierships all over the continent as James Mayer, after his 22 appearances for the Brisbane Roar and 6 goals in the Hyundai A-League across 3 seasons. Ball headed back by Scott Halliday after Greg King half dealt with the long ball from Archbold. Bit sloppy in the midfield there, and again this raking ball aimed towards Ryan Palmer, but Nathan Beagley doing exceptionally well, getting his body in the way. And winning the throw-in, which he takes himself and launches that ball up towards James Mayer, who can't keep it in, and it's a striker's throw. Nice flick on. That's a very nice flick on by strikers. Danger here for City. Clulo was in the middle, never quite got to him, and James Myers is over on that far side and will mop up. Excellent between he and Beagley. Meyer getting a little bit of rough treatment there, but has won the free kick eventually. Looked like he'd just been dispossessed in front of the Brisbane City bench, where standing coach Phil Calabrese is giving a bit of opinion. It might have been Craig Gearson, the manager there. He'll be pleased with his team's efforts so far. City playing an exciting brand of football. Both these teams do, and have historically played some exceptional stuff here at local level. Here's Scott Halliday. Headed clear and finds its way towards Zach Maltby. City won't be wanting to give him too much space, but he's forced backwards. Here's Clulo. Oh, Clulo does very well to beat Reece Raymond. Goes back to Michael Angus, his captain. It's going to fall for Omori, is it? It is. Rode a bit of a rough challenge. Here is Zach Maltby through on goal. Flashes it across the face. What a chance for Brisbane strikers. Bit slack at the back, Brisbane City there. You'd have to say Maltby will be thinking he should have done better when he watches this back. Clancy made himself big, but that's an early opportunity for the Brisbane strikers after 17 minutes have passed here at Perry Park. Halliday played that one a little bit too close to Trent Clulo, but works out for City. But then Clulo comes back and wins the throw-in. Reece Raymond getting a little bit of advice from some of the more senior players, including Nathan Bird. Here's Amori. Lovely 1-2 between Amori and Clulo. Amori's going to have a shot. Didn't quite get hold of it. Very comfortable for Jake Clancy. Here's Nathan Bird. City looking to counter-attack now after that spell of possession from Brisbane strikers, who should have had the opening goal thanks to Zach Maltby, but he just guided that ball across the face. No options ahead for Reece Raymond, so he's forced back to Tom Alton. It's a bit static for City going forward. And Halliday is forced to go all the way back to Jake Clancy. King. The half-centurion for City in the National Premier League's Queensland. He goes back to Clancy. And now to the other centre-back, Tom Alton. City just exploring their options at the back and which avenue to go through. That ball looked a little short, but City have worked an opening here with Sam Sibatuara. Sibatuara is a dangerous player to be left roaming. Halliday rides for challenge from McLean, but referee has spotted a foul. Did look like he got caught. Intelligent play from Scott Halliday. Takes it quickly between he and Sam Sibatuara and out wide to Reece Raymond. Raymond goes back to Bird. Sibatuara. Missed the first couple of games of the season, did Sam Sibatuara. Trialled in the Malaysian League One. Here's an opportunity for strikers now. Trent Clulo cuts back inside. That's a great tackle by Tom Alton covering. Vital intervention by the young City centre-back. Is it going to break here for City? It's there for Scott Halliday. Halliday goes down. Greg Hensley holds his arms up. From a similar part of the world, Hensley and Scott Halliday, originally born in Newcastle upon Tyne, up in the north of England. Hensley, of course, Scottish. Here's an audacious effort. Oh, it's going to go in! What a goal! Greg King! On his 50th appearance for City, what a goal! He was inside his own half. That's remarkable. Greg King, who scored against Brisbane City in 2013 with a 30-yard screamer at Corporate Travel Management Stadium, has just scored an absolute wonder goal here. He spotted Archbold off his line. And that is something that Archbold did a couple of times when I saw him in the pre-season Silver Boot competition. He did come forward a fair bit, and Greg King was alive to it. 20 minutes gone. City have the lead through, you'd have to say, an unlikely source. Nevertheless, what a way to celebrate your 50th game. Here come the hosts, though, through Maltby. Oh, it's a lovely touch. It's gone out wide now to Clulo. Oh, he holds his head in his hands. That really should have been in. Just got his angles wrong, I think, Trent Clulo. That should have been the equalising goal for the hosts. They find themselves a goal down thanks to a bit of magic from Greg King, but that's another glaring miss from the strikers, and you have to think that they are going to start regretting these opportunities that are missed. Should the trend continue. Strong challenge in the midfield by Bird on Angus. Fair though, says Skinner. Shizuno tried to flick that ball on towards where he hoped James Meyer would be, but wasn't quite as quick as he'd hoped. There's a bit of head tennis going on in front of the strikers bench, and David Large just with the behind the back catch that didn't quite come off. Spoke during the week to David Large. He said that the strikers have been training very well. Of course, didn't have a week off like most of the competition. They played that catch-up game against the South West Queensland Thunder from the round 4 postponement on Maundy Thursday. So the day before Good Friday, for those of you who aren't quite au fait with your slightly antiquated terms. It's a foul over on that far side. It was Messenger who went down, the 22-year-old Kiwi, former under-20 international for New Zealand. Made 4 appearances. Had an interesting career himself in Finland and the ISPS Hander Premiership with Canterbury United and Wanderers. The referee blows his whistle again. There's a bit of pushing and shoving in the middle. It might have been Messenger who was involved, as well as McGowan. The big men are up. That's a deep ball towards Messenger. It's just going safely over the crossbar as far as Brisbane City are concerned, but they do have height, the strikers, with Hensley and Messenger and McGowan. Plenty of tall timber to be put in the box. Jake Clancy taking his time with that. It's just Greg King's second of the season, only his third in 50 appearances for Brisbane City, going back to the goal. Did manage a few more as a right-sided midfielder for strikers, 16 in 59 appearances in the National Premier League's Queensland here. Hensley being put under a bit of pressure by Seiji Shizuno, and then a slip by Messenger. He gets away with it. There's all sorts of goings on there between Messenger and James Mayer. It's a free kick to City after all that. Another opportunity. Surely not Greg King to go for goal, but this was closer than his goal-scoring attempt. Catching Nathan Archbold off his line. If you're just joining us, you'll have to wait for the highlights on the Football Queensland Facebook page or watch the game back after we've finished recording here, because it's some goal. I'm going to put my money on that as being goal of the round. But there is a full programme this weekend, or almost a full programme. Apologies. Cairns versus Mackay Whitsundays, Magpies Crusaders United has been postponed owing to the tremendous amount of rain falling in the north at the moment. It's another make-up game for Cairns that they'll need to fit in at some point. One of them being against Brisbane Strikers. Round 6 tie, also postponed due to some tropical weather in the north. The other games kicking off around the grounds. Lions are taking on South West Queensland Thunder. Western Pride are taking on Gold Coast United. So the ball breaks for strikers here. Here's a good opportunity. Palmer's on the outside. Here is Ryan Palmer. There's Ryan Palmer. It's a fine save. Perhaps a bit fortunate from Jake Clancy. He stuck a strong right arm up, and of all the spaces to hit it in, Palmer managed to find the wrist of Jake Clancy. And another let-off for the visitors. Hiroki Omori on this near side will take the corner. Well, City are leading 1-0 midway through this first half. Who do you think will win? Have a vote on the Football Queensland Instagram poll. And make sure you follow us for a behind-the-scenes look at tonight's game. Ball is swept in towards Hensley, just over the top of his head. And will end up being played out by Seiji Shizuno. And then James Mayer plays the ball out himself off Greg Hensley, or certainly under pressure from the big Scotsman, who, like his teammate Messenger, spent a little bit of time in New Zealand, Hawke's Bay United, currently managed by former Southend United legend. Throw-in for City. It's Messenger's head on it, that distinctive peroxide blonde. Seiji Shizuno now. There's more in hope than anything else towards Sam Sibatuara, but still there potentially for Sammy, but strikers do exceptionally well to get the ball out from the back for a combination of Greg Hensley and McGowan, who was under a little bit of pressure then from Seiji Shizuno, the former Rochdale man. Strong header by Nathan Beagley. Mayer is being pulled and poked and prodded by Sam Knight and wins the free kick. Former Sunshine Coast man, played 30 games up on the Sunshine Coast. 63rd appearance for strikers today. Speaking of the Sunshine Coast, strikers had a couple of changes this week. Jeremy Stewart departing for Sunshine Coast Wanderers, linking up with Matt Chandler's side up there as they push for promotion to the National Premier Leagues from the Football Queensland Premier League. He was sent on his way with best wishes from David Large, who did express his disappointment. He did back his current crop of strikers to take up the load. Dennis Yongule, unfortunately ill this evening. I do have plenty of attacking stocks, do strikers. There's one of them, Zach Maltby, ball just flying over the top of his head, but there's another, Trent Clulo. City come up with the ball though. This has been a good first half from City. Shizuno and Hiroki Omori getting acquainted there. Omori just suggesting that there might have been a handball to lineswoman on this near side, Misuk Park, but I think she was correct in not giving it. The voice of Matt Skinner you heard there, just showing his manners to Reece Raymond, who let that ball get a little bit away from him, but Clulo couldn't capitalise. Perhaps an option to pass that ball forward towards Scott Halliday, and instead played Tom Alton into a bit of trouble, and it's a striker's throw-in. Although Tom Alton doesn't necessarily agree with that call, neither does Reece Raymond. It's Matt Skinner's opinion that matters though. It's touched by McLean. Clulo driving that ball in across McLean! Oh, what a fine save by Clancy! Full stretch to his left. The 19-year-old from Mackay kept out the 24-year-old from Blackburn. A fine one-handed save. That's excellent work. All round, really. Excellent move from the strikers down the left, coupled with an excellent save by Jake Clancy. It's going to be put on top of his head, and Clancy did flap at that a little bit. Oh, and it's flicked all the way through. Did it come off Reece Raymond? Gather from his body language, perhaps it did. He's telling himself to calm down. Reece had a difficult couple of minutes. Very talented player though, played exceptionally well again in pre-season. A pre-season which City did very well before tailing off a little bit at the end. Here's Kai Bolton, who's been a little bit anonymous in the last 10 minutes or so, but he's picked up the ball now on this right-hand side of the penalty area. Bird tried to squeeze that through to Reece Raymond, but was unable to do so. And the strikers will counter-attack through Messenger. Received that ball from McLean. Messenger is bundled to ground by James Meyer, and I think there's been a little bit going on there that we perhaps aren't privy to over on that far side. The strikers bench up in arms at Matt Skinner's decision there. Meyer just shrugs his shoulders, believing himself to be in the right, and I guess was proven to be in the right by the non-whistle from Skinner, who does blow his whistle there as Greg King goes to ground under the attention of Zach Maltby. That did look like a foul, despite the groans from the Bill Waddell stand here at Perry Park. Just a few kilometres north of the Brisbane CBD, for those of you unfamiliar with the local geography. King goes short to Halliday. Back to Halliday. Halliday has a little bit of space. Tries to thread the needle. Goes to Sam Sibatuara. Haven't said his name too many times in this first half. That ball aims towards Maltby, is cut out. We've already mentioned the speed that Maltby possesses and could cause problems for this City defence, but they've dealt with it ably so far. Bigley cheekily trying to steal a couple of yards, perhaps more than a couple. He will take the throw in eventually, you'd hope. 33 minutes gone as Mayer wins a throw in right in front of the strikers' bench. Brisbane City leading their Northside rivals by a 1-0. And what a goal it was by Greg King from inside his own half, catching Archbold off his line. Sibatuara is left on the deck there, and Clulo will race upfield. Sibatuara's getting a little bit of advice from Matt Skinner, probably along the lines of, I make the decisions here, not you. Sibatuara getting involved just in front of the City bench, and I imagine he's going to get told to calm down, as indeed are the City bench. Plenty going on over on that far side. Excitingly, will be right in front of us in the second half, should it continue, although I'm sure Matt Skinner will be hoping that this talking to will be enough to calm the emotions of Sibatuara. Scored 4 goals in his 5 games so far, has last year's, or the last 2 years, Golden Boot winner here at City. He was late then on that striker's defender, but referee has let that go. He'll have to be careful. The spectators here at Perry Park were certainly attempting to alert referee Skinner to what was going on. Looked a little soft, but City look a little bit rattled all of a sudden. And now it's Michael Angus's turn to have a discussion with Matt Skinner. It's the first time in 18 months that Matt Skinner's been here at Perry Park to referee a game. Managed to avoid it all last year. He's been given plenty of work now. And it's Brock Messenger who's also getting a bit of a talking to, and you have to wonder what that's all about. It's been a couple of comings together now with Sibatuara and Meyer, as well as Sam Knight. 2 normally impeccably behaved teams play football the right way, just letting tensions get the better of them so far, and it'll be the frustration of Brisbane strikers that they've fallen behind to such a spectacular goal. Most of you still think strikers will win. 76% of you on the Football Queensland Instagram poll as Kai Bolton gives away another free kick. This time on Hiroki Omori, and there's plenty of space over on that far side for Knight. Knight is pressured though by Beagley, and then Hensley comes careering in and ends up on the deck. Oh, that's brave from Reece Raymond. That'll do his confidence the world of good. Just deceiving Ryan Palmer. Had to get that right. Did City's right back, but he did so. Here's Shizuno. That was a nice touch by Scott Halliday, trying to direct traffic. The challengers are flying in now. That was Michael Anglis sliding in from behind on Shizuno. Play's allowed to continue. The referee did signal that he was playing advantage. City retained possession through King. King looks that ball towards Shizuno. Bit too close to Nathan Archbold, and he gathers comfortably. Be having nightmares about Greg King, will Nathan Archbold, over the next few nights. Well, here's an opportunity perhaps to Scott Halliday. Now, Sam Sibatuara, 2-0 Brisbane City. Horrible error at the back from strikers. And they've rather handed Brisbane City a 2-goal advantage. And 38 minutes in, Brisbane City have a 2-goal advantage. And the inquest is continuing. In the midfield for Brisbane strikers, perhaps it ought to be directed more towards the back. It has been characteristic of Brisbane City, though, in this first half, the harrying and harassing, starting their defence at the top. And that's another brilliant touch at the back by Scott Halliday. And then Mayer is flung to the ground. It's getting a bit physical out there. Here's Maltby. Maltby doing very well. Oh, doesn't quite keep it in. That would have been some effort. He did have Trent Clulo just lurking with intent in the penalty area. With just 7 minutes or so to go before the break. I think David Large will be wanting to get his team back in to the dressing room and just make sure that they get their heads back on. It's been a little bit of niggle, particularly over on that far side. Here's one of the protagonists, Messenger. Maltby went down. Palmer playing the ball out wide to McLean. Here's Hiroki Omori in space on this near side. Hiroki Omori shapes to shoot, doesn't quite get it there. Perhaps he would have been better off doing so. Bit of a cuddle between Hiroki Omori and Nathan Bird. It's not half time yet, gents. Still 6 minutes to go. Strikers look to build from the back again. Can they get a goal back in this first half? Half thought that Michael McGowan had spotted Jake Clancy off his line there. A la Greg King, circa 20 minutes or so. Instead, as he turned away, you could tell he didn't mean that at all, whereas Greg King's effort in the 20th minute was certainly intentional, as it gave City that early lead. Beagley has to use his goalkeeper, and then that's lovely interplay on the left side of the defence between King and Clancy and Nathan Beagley. Scott Halliday does very well, and City with the advantage. Bird flings that ball up towards Shizuno, who splits the centre-backs. Shizuno, still Shizuno. Shizuno's going to shape to shoot. Oh, he flashes that one. Oh, it wasn't a very long way away from this near post. Nathan Archbold very comfortably aware of where his far post was. You'd have to say that Seiji Shizuno didn't quite get hold of that and add to his 5 goals that he's already scored this season. City's leading goal scorer. Managed 24 in 105 games in all competitions for Rochdale Rovers over the course of 4 years. Did Seiji. McGowan wants Archbold to come. The ball obligingly travelled fast enough to avoid Sam Sibatuara, who scored City's second goal on 38 minutes. Very well composed finish. Referee's blown for a foul, I assume, by Nathan Beagley. Didn't look like there was all that much in it. Taken short by Angus. Angus gets things moving. Oh, it's nice football by strikers. Lovely link up between McLean and Knight. McLean forced away from goal. Here's Messenger. Messenger and McLean again to Messenger. Back to Hensley. Strikers retaining possession excellently here. McGowan. Can they get the ball into the danger zone? Halliday goes down. No foul, says the referee. Halliday's still down. And now Sam Sibatuara goes down. And we're going to see our first yellow card and a little bit of a scuffle and a little bit of a push. I think that's been coming between these two sides. It did look like Jake McLean was a little bit late. I have to say, it did look like Scott Halliday was fouled as well. That's Jake McLean's second yellow card of the season. He's scored in the last 2 games, has Jake McLean. We'll have to be careful now. Scott Halliday has eventually got himself back to his feet. Like a rough challenge. Skinner reiterated that there was nothing wrong and that Strikers player got the ball. City will take the free kick. It will be Greg King. He scored from about there a few moments ago, 20 or so minutes ago. In this first half, if you're just joining us, watch out for the highlights of that game. Scott Halliday gets clipped again, and this is starting to become a little bit of a pattern for Brisbane strikers, letting their frustration get the better of them. Nathan Bird. Alton. Raymond. Raymond looks for an option, finds it in Shizuno. Shizuno tried to turn that round the corner to Kai Bolton, who hasn't been utilised quite to his full potential in this first half. Here's Nathan Bird. Say Clulo got a little bit lucky there. Here's someone who's also got pace and a lot of potential as well, Zach Maltby. Chased down hard though by Tom Alton, still gets the ball away to Clulo. Maltby. Oh, does well to get past Alton, puts that ball into the box. It's there, is it? For Palmer. Comfortably gathered by Jake Clancy, but if Palmer had got hold of that, I think it would have taken Clancy with it into the net, the ball. Point blank range, just scuffed his lines a little bit. Here's Beagley to Shizuno. Can Shizuno outpace Greg Hensley? You bet he can, but he certainly can't outpace Nathan Archbold, who was coming in the other direction, and that ball nestles somewhere behind the Brisbane City bench over on that far side. Nathan Beagley will take the throw-in, slowing things down City with just 30 seconds remaining in the first half. Matt Skinner again unhappy with where the throw-in is being taken from. Meyer can't get that ball under control. Looked like Halliday might have left a foot in there. He didn't. That ball's aimed forward towards Clulo, but Clancy had enough time and composure to let that ball bounce gently into his area where he gathered. And now Reece Raymond, who cost that ball up cheaply. Will City live to regret that mistake? We're in time added on at the end of the first half. Sam Sibatuara cutting that ball out before it could get to Micah Angus. Bit of confusion on this near side. Meesuk Park initially signalling that it was Brisbane City's ball, but that's not what Matt Skinner said. It's Kai Bolton heading that ball out. This time, Amori with the throw. Back to Amori. Closed down by Bolton. Halliday goes down. It's still there, though, for McLean. And is it going to be there for Maltby? So close to getting onto the end of that was Sam Knight. Here's Messenger. Can he deliver a ball into the box? Corner for Brisbane strikers. Greg King is furious with that call. Certainly looked like a corner from here, but they are a lot closer than us. One last opportunity for strikers, deep in stoppage time here at the end of the first half. City leading by 2-0. Ball is put onto the edge of the 6-yard, but where Hensley meets it, and then Clancy dives out. He's flattened by 2 strikers. Nathan Beagley makes his feelings felt to Matt Skinner. And another little cuddle. One of those players was Zach Maltby. The other was Jake McLean, who has already been booked. Zoe Russell coming to check on Brisbane City's keeper, who will be hoping it's not too serious. City are already down 1 goalkeeper in Bon Scott. It's Julian Laurenti on the bench, the 19-year-old. Been playing in the under-20s this season, the unbeaten Brisbane City under-20s. They won here last night against the Strikers by 5 goals to 2 in a very entertaining encounter. Albeit one in which 1 or 2 Strikers fans insisted that the referee was rather more lenient than they'd hoped. Korsatake was the man of the match, being involved in 4 of City's 5 goals, including scoring 1 himself. Korsatake was the goal scorer in City's only win against Brisbane Strikers. Back in 2014, a 2-1 victory at Corporate Travel Management Stadium, a game of high drama. It was Luca Genesi's 21st birthday. Korsatake got the winner. Luca Perico got sent off. The game so far has more than lived up to that. Clancy takes that ball long towards Kai Bolton. You'd have to think we're almost out of time in this first half. That was delicate from Maltby. And here's Palmer, racing into the penalty area. He deceives 1, he shoots! Brilliant save! Absolutely brilliant by Clancy. He just got a touch on that, I think. And once again, Ryan Palmer is denied by City's teenage wonder keeper. That's all we're going to see in the first half. What a first half we've had. What an end to that first half we've seen. Brisbane Strikers still trail, though, by 2 goals to 0. The first, a wonder strike from Greg King. He spotted Nathan Archbold off his line and then launched a ball from inside his own half that hit the back of the net. An absolutely sensational goal. And then City's second highest goal scorer in the National Premier League's history, Sam Sibatuara, grabbed his 5th goal of the season just 10 minutes or so before the half. His 21st goal in City colours. It's been a fantastic encounter so far. Don't go anywhere other than to get a cup of tea or a nice cold beverage, because this is going to be an absolutely thrilling second half from Perry Park. Hope you join us in just a couple of minutes.
Swear a lot at Total Tools. We swear by our range. We swear by our service. And of course, we swear by our prices. So you'll know that you're buying at the best price every day. Total Tools. Every tool, every trade.
I could watch them all day. Even though here, you don't feel like you need to. These are the moments I'll remember. You see, to me, it's not so much just having us all together, but finding a place that really brings us together. That's what makes Oaks Oasis special. When you only get a few chances, it's important to make them count. After all, memories don't make themselves.
Audi, Eddie Mini Rouge, Mini Star. Oh, Mini Star. Ah! Audi. Dream Team.
Reckon your kid could do better than Archie? We're looking for 4 mini stars to join the Aldi Mini Rouge Dream Team. If your kid's between 4 and 11, loves football, get them to make a video.
2 minutes max.
Showing us why they've got what it takes. If they're picked, they'll be part of the Aldi Mini Rouge Dream Team and the face of Aldi's wheat biscuits.
I thought I was meant to be on the box.
We swear a lot at Total Tools. We swear by our range. We swear by our service. And of course, we swear by our prices. So you'll know that you're buying at the best price every day. Total Tools. Every tool, every trade.
I could watch them all day. Even though here, you don't feel like you need to. These are the moments I'll remember. You see, to me, it's not so much just having us all together, but finding a place that really brings us together. That's what makes Oaks Oasis special. When you only get a few chances, it's important to make them count. After all, memories don't make themselves.
Today. Audi, Eddie Mini Rouge, Mini Star. Oh, Mini Star. Ah! Audi. Dream Team.
Reckon your kid could do better than Archie? We're looking for 4 mini stars to join the Aldi Mini Rouge Dream Team. If your kid's between 4 and 11, loves football, get them to make a video.
2 minutes max.
Showing us why they've got what it takes. If they're picked, they'll be part of the Aldi Mini Rouge Dream Team and the face of Aldi's wheat biscuits.
I thought I was meant to be on the box.
Welcome back here to Perry Park. What a game we have on our hands here. Brisbane strikers huffed and puffed and threw everything at Brisbane City's defence towards the end of that half, but couldn't make the breakthrough thanks to a couple of fantastic saves from Jake Clancy. And as it stands, they trail Brisbane City by 2-0. Greg King scoring from inside his own half after 20 minutes or so, and then Sam Sibatuara adding a second, his 5th of the season. Brisbane City will be feeling very pleased with themselves thus far. Long way to go in this one yet, though. A couple of half-time scores to bring you, other than that here at Perry Park. Lions are trailing South West Queensland Thunder by 1-0 at Lions Stadium as Seiji Shizuno gets us underway for Brisbane City in the dark blue shirts, kicking from right to left, strikers in the yellow. Looked like a striker's throw, and that was eventually the decision that was made by the officiating team, who are Matt Skinner, Taryn Richards and Misuk Park. Throw in on this near side will be taken by Knight. Headed by Kai Bolton, and then again by Nathan Bird. Strikers pick the ball up, and this is nice work initially from the host. Here's Hiroki Omori over on that far side. Omori facing up against James Mayo. Has it taken off him by Ryan Palmer. And then Brisbane City escape, and that's Sam Sibatuara, who did score City's second goal. As the home fans try to spur their team on. Plenty of opportunities, a lot of them falling to Ryan Palmer. Here's an opportunity perhaps for Seiji Shizuno. Is the bounce going to favour him? It's not, and neither did it favour Kai Bolton. That's brilliant work at the back by Sam Knight. Kept working, kept chasing. Nathan Bird wants an option. Just flicks it over his opponent to Nathan Beagley. Beagley does get bundled off the ball by the Strikers captain Michael Angus. Here's Messenger. He's a key protagonist in that first half for the hosts. Back to Sam Knight. Did get a little bit tasty at times, a little bit niggly. Here's the pace of Maltby that we've been talking about, up against Greg King, and Greg King gets his pocket picked by Zach Maltby. Maltby racing into the penalty area. That comes off the outside of the post, I think, if not a foot of Jake Clancy. Once again, Zach Maltby showing his pace and showing what a threat he can be. We've already mentioned he scored against Brisbane City in the Silver Boot semi-final. That was the only goal of that game. As it stands, this will be Brisbane City's first ever win at Perry Park in the National Premier Leagues, and that covers 7 games, if you include 2 against the Brisbane Raw Youth in the early years of the competition. Sibatuara chasing down Archbold, who clears his lines well. Of course, there's a couple of issues for Nathan Beagley, actually, but it ran all the way through to Jake Clancy. A couple of games just underway. North Queensland versus the Raw Youth up in Townsville. And Western Pride have just kicked off against Gold Coast United as well. Both 0-0 the scores there. We'll keep you updated around the grounds as the games happen. That's a glorious ball towards Kai Bolton. He does end up getting hold of it up against Sam Knight, who forces him back. He has Beagley. And it is Beagley who gets the ball now to Bird. Bird has options outside him. Here's Mayer. Mayer on a drive. Mayer has a shot! It was always going wide. As Mayer has only scored 1 goal for City so far in the National Premier Leagues. His 7th appearance today. He missed the opening game due to international clearance issue from his stint at the East Club in Hong Kong. Pesky paperwork getting in the way. Scored against Cairns in Cairns in that 3-1 victory that really turned the corner for Brisbane City so far this season after a disappointing start that saw the Corporate Travel Management side lose their first 3 games. Here's Scott Halliday, has Nathan Beagley on the outside. City pressing forward. That's a very deep cross by Beagley. It's going to fall all the way to James Meyer though, so not all is lost. He is squared up by Hiroki Omori. Needs support. Had it in Sibatuara but couldn't squeeze the ball through. Wins the ball back though, does James Meyer. Turning defence into attack. And here is Meyer after some great works in Sibatuara. James Meyer! That's a fine save by Nathan Archbold. He really got hold of that, did the former Raw A-League player. It's a good save at his near post from Nathan Archbold, who has been made to look a little foolish earlier in the first half after he was lobbed from beyond halfway by Greg King. It's just Greg King's 3rd goal in 50 appearances for Brisbane City, which is understanding for a centre-back. Kai Bolton uses Meyer. Meyer looking lively in this second half. Really does bring an element of swagger to Brisbane City. It's certainly evident in pre-season. It hasn't been so much in the season proper. That's a lovely ball by Sibatuara, and it's fallen all the way through to Nathan Bird, who can't get that ball under control. I don't think he thought it was going to creep past the towering figure of Michael McGowan, but it's disappointing for Nathan Bird. And he can't add to the solitary goal that he scored so far this season against South West Queensland Thunder, which coincidentally was when Greg King scored his only previous goal this season. Here's Angus. Threads the ball through towards Clulo. Frank Clulo forced wide though by Reece Raymond, and that ball's intercepted wonderfully by Scott Halliday. He's having some game in the heart of midfield for Brisbane City. John Cosmina, if he's watching from afar, will be mighty impressed by the way his team have fronted up so far. 6 minutes into this second half here at Perry Park. Leading Brisbane Strikers by 2-0. Strikers, of course, were hit by the late withdrawal of Michael Lee, who succumbed to that back injury that he suffered a couple of rounds ago. He was unable to take to the field as that ball is blocked by Reece Raymond and then helped onto the roof of the Bill Waddell stand. Hiroki Omori will receive the ball back though. Trickling down. Messenger. Angus. Sibatuara. Dispossessed by Angus, and here's Messenger. Messenger rolling forward. Dispossessed though. Here's Angus. Messenger. Oh, almost all the way through to Palmer. And Palmer continued his run, and then Knight. Dispossessed by Kai Bolton, and that was a little bit naughty, you'd have to say, from Sam Knight. Knew exactly what he was doing and earned a yellow card for his troubles. That's the second yellow card of the game, and it goes to Sam Knight. A cynical trip, you'd have to say. It was a sensible foul to give away, really, because when Kai Bolton gets going, he is rapid. I believe he won a run-off to prove he's the fastest player in the Brisbane City squad. That's a nice ball by Sibatuara to Meyer. Meyer wants an option, chooses to go himself instead. Now back to Sibatuara, just dispossessed by Micah Anglers. Brilliant work at the back from the Strikers captain. Knew exactly where he needed to be and then made that vital interception, and now pressing hard against James Meyer, who's forced to go all the way back to Tom Alton and Jake Clancy. And Clancy is caught late, is he, there by Zach Maltby, and Maltby might be in trouble here. If the foot is adjudged to have been high, Greg King's certainly suggesting that Maltby might be in trouble, but I have a feeling that nothing's been given by referee Matt Skinner. He certainly dove in to try and block that ball, Zach Maltby. I think it was malicious, just tried to get himself in the way, and it was a little bit clumsy more than anything. It is a free kick. Tom Alton is apologising for the slightly weak back pass. Sometimes you see those penalised a little bit harsher. Matt Skinner explaining his decision to Michael Angus. And Clancy is obviously all right to continue. Copped a bit of a hard knock at the end of the first half as Bird tries to dispossess McLean and does so illegally. Two number 10s. Ironic cheers from the Bill Waddell stand as the perceived injustices of the game begin to mount for the strikers. Here's Palmer. That's a lovely ball through towards Maltby, and that's 2-1. Strikers back in it. Lovely interplay by Brisbane strikers to carve their way through the Brisbane City defence. And Zach Maltby gets his second goal against Brisbane City for the season, his third overall in the season proper. Both those goals came last week against the South West Queensland Thunder, so he's in good form. His third goal in 1.5 games. And as we promised, we have a game on our hands here at Perry Park. Brisbane Strikers 1, Brisbane City 2. Kai Bolton forced backwards. Uses Scott Halliday, and Halliday threads the ball through towards Nathan Beagley. It's a bit too far ahead of him, and Hensley will mop up. Archbold launching the ball forward towards goal scorer Maltby, and it comes off the head of King, and Jake Clancy got all of that and more. Causes a little bit of problem for Hiroki Amori, and strikers have to force the ball out for a throw-in. Michael McGowan clearing up after Amori didn't quite get hold of the initial clearance. Strikers have been pressing for that first goal. It's nothing short of what they deserve. It's Raymond again, trying to steal a few extra yards. Looks like Michael Angus is suggesting that he might not want to do that in future. Tom Alton hits that ball high, and it's headed out over on that far side. Quickly taken throw towards Sibatuara. City bench appeal for a foul. Doesn't look like there was much doing. And in fact, a foul is being given against Greg King, and he is less than pleased with that decision. Looked like it could have gone either way. Messenger and Angus standing over a free kick. They choose not to take it quickly. Although now Angus does play the ball out wide to Hiroki Amori. Back to Messenger. Hensley. Well, that's nice by Knight. Comes up against Nathan Beagley though, and Beagley does very well on his first start. But now he's dispossessed by Palmer. Here's Knight into the box. Oh, that was so close to the equalising goal for strikers. Zach Maltby had got any more on that, you think the back of the net would have been bulging here at Perry Park. But as it was, he just couldn't puff his chest out enough. And a bit of a let-off for City. It looked initially like Nathan Beagley had done very well, but just got crowded out by the combination of Sam Knight and Ryan Palmer. And it was a fine cross across the face. Jake Clancy will be breathing a sigh of relief. Here's King. Closed down by Maltby, and here's Scott Halliday. Strikers hunting in packs at the moment. But the combination of Angus and Palmer couldn't dispossess Scott Halliday, who's had a very impressive game thus far. Beagley launched that forward towards James Meyer, and he's crowded out by McGowan, and here is the former Redlands captain playing the ball forward. It's cut out though by Kai Bolton. It's just his first start of the season as well. That was a lovely touch by Palmer, and here's more danger for Brisbane City. A lovely ball into the box. It's in again. Suggestion of handball, and the referee Matt Skinner is coming over to have a discussion with his assistant, Misuk Park. She's suggesting it came off the chest, perhaps. James Meyer is making his feelings known as well. But all of a sudden, Brisbane Strikers are back on level terms, and with 30 minutes left in the game, the momentum is firmly with the hosts. And it's that same old pattern. Ball coming in from the right-hand side. It was just bundled in. Beagley wins the header. Meyer can't keep it in. They need to stop. Need to stop arguing amongst themselves, you would think. That's certainly the way it's going at the moment. McGowan plays the ball back to Archbold, and Archbold launches it out wide to McLean, who can't keep it in. Throw-in taken quickly by Reece Raymond. Don Cosmina, of course, absent, as we've mentioned a couple of times, so it will be up to Phil Calabrese to steady the ship and look to his bench. Alex Fechner, Andre Bonotto, Max Mickler and Mark Stewart are the players at his disposal, as well as Julian Renty, the reserve goalkeeper. Strikers have upped their game a little. No foul over on that far side. Looked like Raymond may have dived in a little on Trent Clulo, but nothing doing, says referee Skinner. Couple of scores from around the grounds. Queensland Lions trailing South West Queensland Thunder at home by a goal to nil. And Brisbane Roar Youth are already 2 goals to the good against North Queensland up in Townsville. Beagley's bundled off the ball. Good strength by Jake McLean. Beagley bounced straight back up though, did Reece Raymond, and that ball almost thread through to Trent Clulo, and Strikers really have their tails up now. Another ball played forward towards Maltby, who is offside. Played quickly. Too quickly, says Matt Skinner. Western Pride are also a goal to the good at Briggs Road against Gold Coast United, who are a man down. Early stages of those 2 latter games. Fortuitous bounce. Could pay off for Kai Bolton. Instead, it's Hiroki Omori who retains possession, but that's straight at Nathan Bird. And had Nathan Bird controlled that from Nathan Archbold, it could have been left red-faced for the second time of the game after Greg King scored from halfway, beyond halfway. Crowd really getting behind their home team now. Here's an opportunity. Snapshot by Clulo. It always looked fairly comfortable for Jake Clancy in the City goal, but again, just shows how much more confidence is flowing through Brisbane Strikers at the moment. Is Angus. Has options ahead of him. Well, it's a nice flick, but it was well cut out by Reece Raymond, and now Raymond finds James Meyer. Meyer up against Knight. Shizuno. Pass messenger. Shizuno with the shot. There's Sam Sibatuara with the snapshot. Big cry for handball. Did look like it popped up and hit the arm, but that's not how Matt Skinner saw it, and it's trickled out for a goal kick regardless that Archbold will take. Messenger flicks that ball on, rises highest against Reece Raymond. It's a high looping ball back towards Clancy, and he's been put in a little bit of bother there by Reece Raymond, has Clancy. And a foul has gone Brisbane City's way. Real let off there after that throw-in really looped up from Reece Raymond. Caught Tom Alton and Jake Clancy out a little bit. Here's King. The Bird has been operating in the central defensive position earlier this season. Sibatuara, I'm not quite sure what he was trying there under pressure from McGowan. But whatever it was, it probably wasn't that. Has come off for City though. Here's Raymond. Bolton. Back to Raymond. Raymond skips out of the challenge of Michael Angus, and then Tom Alton. Oh, Tom Alton was pulled up a little bit lame there. Beagley doesn't have an option ahead of him. Here's Scott Halliday and Beagley. Halliday looking for a run. He has a couple. Sibatuara made a run into the middle. Halliday chooses to go wide to Raymond. Raymond forwards to Bolton. Patient build-up play from Brisbane City. That's good work from Kai Bolton against Hiroki Amori, former Raw youth star. Nathan Bird. Bolton. Bird. Back to Raymond. Halliday switches towards Hiroki Amori, as it turns out, but then that's great tracking back from Kai Bolton, and it's still in for Sam Sibatuara. Fortuitous perhaps, that's great tracking back by Kai Bolton, and then it's there for Sibatuara with the shot. It was a fine save by Archbold initially, and oh so close to falling for Seiji Shizuno. However, fortunately for Nathan Archbold, his parried effort was able to be cleared at the second attempt, and a bit of a let-off there for the hosts. 2-2 the score, 66 minutes gone. Fantastic, entertaining encounter. Great tackle there from Messenger on Bird. Former New Zealand Youth International, showing his class. Here's Maltby. He has pace against Reece Raymond. He crabs across field, finds McLean. McLean, is it going to fall for McLean? It pops up and hits Greg King on the hand. Not sure he could have done all that much about it. Halliday, Shizuno. Bird through the legs of Palmer. Bird trying to find an option. Has Sibatuara alongside him. Uses him. Sibatuara. Bird. Here's Halliday. Scott Halliday off the crossbar. How about that? And then Seiji Shizuno has the ball in the back of the net, and we are going over to the assistant on that far side, Taryn Richards, because Brisbane City feel that they have a goal. And Greg King is arguing his case. The whistle had gone. I think that's what's important to say. Or I certainly heard the whistle, or thought I heard the whistle. Nathan Archbold, did he get a touch? That's what initially I thought. Offside the call. We'll have to see a replay about that, because well, that looks questionable. It's a cracking shot from Scott Halliday. Has not scored in his 37-game Brisbane City career. 20-year-old from Newcastle upon Tyne. Well, here's Clulo. He's onside. Well, he made a real hash out of that, because Jake Clancy was pretty badly out of position. All he needed to do was touch it over the City keeper, and Strikers would have a 3-2 lead. End-to-end stuff here. This is fantastic entertainment in the National Premier League's Queensland, brought to you by Football Queensland on the Facebook page and YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us wherever you're watching. Reece Raymond with the ball. Was hacked clear by Knight. Made a bit of a prod at that. Did the Strikers right back. And here's Trent Clulo. He's onside. Is he going to shoot? He uses Maltby. Oh no, it's not Maltby, I'm afraid. It's Ryan Palmer. It's still in. It's wide. Greg King furious with Nathan Beagley. How did strikers miss? Producer has no answers from Double Take. Thank you for bringing us this live stream and for bringing the National Premier League's Queensland to a global audience. Thank you for watching wherever you are. Brisbane Strikers free kick. It'll be taken by Jake McLean. Either side could have had their third goal by now, but for some disappointing finishing, errant offside flags and fine goalkeeping. McLean aims it towards the big men in the middle, puts it onto the head of Clancy. Clancy gathers, but Tom Alton is down after being barrelled into by Brock Messenger. He's up though, and here's James Mayer. He has space on this near side. He's been allowed to run. Links up with Shizuno. Bit too wide from Shizuno for Mayer, but he keeps possession. Puts the ball into the box, too close to Greg Hensley, and Hensley will be comfortably dealing with those all day. McLean plays the ball forward towards Maltby. Maltby breaks past Clancy. Goal for Strikers! Ryan Palmer gets the third. Strikers come from 2 goals down, and with 20 minutes to go, it's Brisbane Strikers 3, Brisbane City 2. Tom Alton is getting some attention in the box. It may just be cramp. He's been struggling with that for the last 5 minutes or so. You have a feeling Phil Calabrese is going to have to make a change. But City have thrown away a 2-goal lead here. We spoke in the pre-game about how 3 of the 5 games in which both sides have scored, the team that scored first have lost. History repeating itself at Perry Park. And the burden of history pressing down ominously on Brisbane City. They have never won here at Perry Park in the National Premier League's Queensland. Bit of a false start there because Tom Alton is going to need treatment, and you'd have to say he might struggle to continue. Mark Stewart, the defensive option on the bench for Phil Calabrese. Both teams will go and get a drink. It's perfect conditions for football, fairly cool compared to what we have experienced in the opening few rounds up here in the Sunshine State. Phil Calabrese just imparting some instructions over on that far side. David Large doing the same for Strikers. A fantastic turnaround for the hosts. 2 goals down at half time. Now they lead by 3 goals to 2. I believe we are going to see a slight change up. Looks like Nathan Bird has dropped into centre back, at least for the time being. And it will be a slight change in shape because Andre Bonotto, the former Rochdale, former Peninsula Power and Lions man, who will take the field. And here he is on the ball now, wearing the number 19 shirt for Brisbane City, who are playing in the dark blue from right to left. If you just joined us, where have you been? It's been a fantastic game of football so far. Check out the Football Queensland Instagram story for all the behind-the-scenes footage from Perry Park. So we've seen a fantastic encounter. That ball aimed forward towards Kai Bolton, who's switched wings with the introduction of Andre Bonotto into the midfield. Nathan Bird dropping back into centre-back alongside Greg King, who's making his 50th appearance for Brisbane City in the National Premier Leagues today. It's a poor throw by Nathan Beagley. It's going to fall for Maltby. Maltby straight at Jake Clancy, who comfortably gathers and plays the ball to its originally intended target, Scott Halliday. Halliday to Sibatuara over on that far side. Disappointing from Sibatuara. Not on the same wavelength as James Meyer, and strikers will come again. Can they extend their lead? Maltby's in the middle. Couldn't break through to him. Michael Angus was there as well, and now he's got a bit of a chase on. Sibatuara breaking through. Kai Bolton's free on this near side. Instead he goes right to Meyer, who goes down, but no foul by Michael McGowan. And then Meyer clatters into McGowan, and are we going to have a bit of a confrontation? No, we're going to have a bit of a cuddle. It might not be the last of it, though, according to Matt Skinner. Substitution for Brisbane City, the second in quick succession, and it's Kai Bolton, who has impressed so far, who's been withdrawn. And a hugely exciting talent of Max Mikkola has been brought on. He's wearing the number 24 shirt. Very skillful, very talented player. Played 6 games for the undefeated youth side so far under Craig Collins. Scored 2 goals. He came off the bench to make his debut a fortnight ago in that 6-0 win over Sunshine Coast. Been a junior at Brisbane City since 2016. Will he make an impact here as City look to draw back level, having led Brisbane Strikers by 2-0 at half-time, trail with 15 minutes remaining by 3 goals to do. A fantastic comeback from Brisbane Strikers. Everyone appeals for throw-in. Matt Skinner decides it is a Strikers ball. Wonderful comeback from the hosts and 2-time reigning premiers. Offside over on that far side. Nathan Bird will take it. Dare I say it, Nathan Archbold's off his line. I think 80 metres might be a bit far. Here is Mikkola. His first touch since coming on. At his best, racing towards goal, and he does race towards goal there, but Messenger comes away with it. Combination of King and Bonotto trying to dispossess Maltby, but Maltby does sensationally well to retain possession and link up with McLean. And it's going to be forward towards McLean again, but Greg King tidies up in the end. Bonotto flicks it on towards Sibatuara. Sibatuara is hauled to the ground unceremoniously by Michael McGowan. Halliday picks things up. Here's Bird. Bonotto. Mikkola looks for a target. Sees one in Sijuno. It falls all the way to Sibatuara. Sibatuara can't quite get the ball from under his feet and ends up hitting a fairly weak effort right into the grateful arms of Nathan Archbold. Nice touch from Greg King out wide to Nathan Beagley off that towering clearance from Brisbane Strikers keeper Nathan Archbold. City choosing to build from the back, chasing the game as they were, a position they would not have thought they would be in at half-time, leading by 2-0. Reece Raymond forced backwards. Back pass was anticipated by Clulo, but hit with enough pace by Raymond. Bird. Here's Bonotto, has space ahead of him. It's tracked back, though, by McLean. So he chooses the long ball towards Sibatuara. Amori gets the better of Sibatuara, but then Sibatuara wins the ball back. Here's Mayer. Mayer to Raymond. Bonotto. Halliday. Amori does very well to cut that ball out on its way towards Sam Sibatuara. And now strikers can launch a counter-attack offside, surely, against Trent Clulo. The flag does go up. This might be commentary platforms collapsing around us. If you hear a yelp. Halliday with the ball towards Seiji Shizuno, who's offside. Flag goes up. Shizuno may have had a case for a foul against him by Greg Hensley, and Shizuno is slow to get to his feet. Former Rochdale Rovers man, who was there 4 years in the BPL at Underwood Park. The City are going to roll the dice once more. And it will be Seiji Shizuno who is withdrawn. He's done a fine shift up front, has Shizuno. It'll be Alex Fechner who comes on. Alex Fechner has scored 3 goals already this term. He scored his first 2 goals from the bench. Very dangerous with his pace late on in games. Brisbane strikers are going to make a substitution as well. And it is Ryan Palmer who's withdrawn. Jack Stevens, the man coming on. Good effort from Ryan Palmer. He scored the 3rd goal. His 2nd of the season, to go alongside his earlier effort against the Raw Youth. On the Instagram story, it's evened up a little bit. 51% of you now think that Brisbane City are going to win. How fickle. I have a feeling that a lot of you voters may be disappointed. Strikers rarely concede late goals. Well, it has been something of a feature here at Perry Park last season. A couple of the live streams we did last year featured late drama. There will be plenty of opportunity in here. You can vote on the Football Queensland Instagram poll as strikers come forward once again. It's a run into the box by Clulo, chosen to be ignored. A shot comes in from distance and it's in off the post. What a goal! What a goal by Jake McLean! You'd have to say that's the game for Brisbane strikers. Fantastic goal. Fantastic hit from outside the box and in off the post. Clancy could do nothing. And I bet those of you that voted on the Football Queensland Instagram poll in favour of Brisbane City are starting to regret your choice. Strikers lead by 4-2. What a turnaround here at Perry Park. Ball aimed forward towards Alex Fechner, and that was a bit nasty. Over on that far side, it was the substitute, Jack Stevens. Made 13 games in Capital One for Wolves. An opportunity now for City to put the ball into a dangerous area. Andre Bonotto, the tallest of the men available. Nathan Beagley's there as well. He's been double teamed. Height no benefit to you when the ball comes in along the ground, though. And almost Zach Maltby breaking clear. Loves galloping into that open field. Does Maltby. Really gets ahead of steam up. And this pristine surface that's cutting up a little bit after all the wet weather we've had in Brisbane over the last few weeks, really. The ideal roaming ground for Zach Maltby. Max Mikkola bundled off the ball there. Strikers retain possession all the way back by Hensley to Archbold. Mayer closing down. Flicked on by Angus, and there's Clulo. Here's Maltby. Maltby has a man on the outside. It's Stevens straight at Clancy. City get things moving quickly again. Here's Max Mikkola now. He gets in behind Sam Knight. Nice touch, but Greg Hensley's there to mop up. Nice idea from Brisbane City, who need something quickly, you think, with just over 5 minutes remaining in normal time here at Perry Park. A game that they led by 2-0 at half-time, 4 goals in the second half for Brisbane Strikers. Completed a remarkable turnaround for the hosts as they continue their oppressive hoodoo over City. Bonotto lets fly from distance. Didn't get all of it. Ended up hitting the feet of Sam Sibatuara, I think, as much as any of the Strikers' defenders. Collision over there on that far side by Stevens and Raymond. City come up with the ball. Here's Bonotto. Bird. Bird wants an option, trying to direct traffic. Nice ball out wide to Raymond. Raymond uses Alex Fechner. Fechner hits that cross into the substantially sized body of Michael McGowan. But it's won back there by Sam Sibatuara. Good perseverance by City, but Strikers come away with it, and that's the outlet ball from Jake McLean towards Jack Stevens and Zach Maltby over on that far side. Bonotto. Too high for Raymond, and the Bronx cheers ring around Perry Park. 4 minutes remaining for Strikers to hold on, although that would be unfair to the Strikers. They've looked very controlled in this second half. And it's Brisbane City who are doing their utmost. James Mayer getting involved there with Jack Stevens. Putting himself about. Here's a free kick to Strikers and a little bit of pushing and shoving. This is the third game in a row that Stevens has been involved in. Tensions boiling over a little, as they did in the first half on a number of occasions. Fiercely competitive game between these two great rivals. Strikers continue to hold the upper hand. This will be their 8th win in the National Premier Leagues in just 11 games against Brisbane City. If you include the FFA Cup game of 2015, which the Strikers also won by 4-1, and the Silver Boot semi-final, could be in trouble. Here's Sibatuara! Oh, he puts it wide of the post. Strikers' defence are appealing for a litany of crimes, it seems, but there was no whistle and no flag, and Sibatuara has wasted a golden opportunity for Brisbane City to perhaps make these last few minutes incredibly entertaining and tense for the home crowd. Matt Skinner imploring Nathan Archbold to actually place the ball inside the 6-yard box. Motioned that time is off while he does so. All the tactics that players use, experienced players use to take a few seconds off the clock, being used to great effect. Let's go around the grounds. Lions have come back themselves from a 1-goal deficit against South West Queensland Thunder at Lions Stadium. They now lead the Thunder by 4-1 after trailing 1-0 at half-time. Brisbane Roar Youth, they're cruising as we approach half-time against North Queensland. 3 goals to the good up in Townsville, and then Western Pride still lead 10-man Gold Coast United by 1-0, also approaching half-time there. 2 games tomorrow, of course. Sunshine Coast will take on Moreton Bay United at 2 o'clock up at Sunshine Coast Stadium, and Olympic will host Redlands United at 6 p.m. Going to see a substitution for strikers. It's going to be Seb Scaroni. Jake McLean is the man who is withdrawn. For three-time National Premier League's Queensland Premier on the 2013 Premiership with Olympic, and then two in the last 2 years with strikers. Played in Victoria in 2015 against Oakley Cannons. Sorts of manhandling going on in that right full-back corner for Brisbane City. Halliday. Mikula made a run, but it would have been a Hollywood ball had it got there. Four-man front line for Brisbane City at the moment. From right to left, Fechner, Sibatuara, Mayer, and the man on the ball now, Max Mikula, who is forced back to Greg King. Here's Mayer. Mikula swings the ball into Sibatuara. Good head by Michael McGowan. He clears the ball out for a Brisbane City throw-in. We're in time added on. I think there'll be a fair amount of it. There was plenty in the first half. Here's King. I think any goal now will just be adding respectability for City. Looked like Alex Fechner had both hands on Hiroki Omori's back. Omori has the last laugh before Sibasuara comes across and clears the ball out wide. This has been a very impressive comeback from Brisbane strikers. City racing into a 2-goal lead if you've only just joined us. The first, I'm sure we'll see plenty of across social media on Football Queensland, particularly on Facebook, where you'll see the goals of the week. It'll be hard pushed to find too many better this weekend. Having said that, Jake McLean's fourth for strikers wasn't too shabby either, in off the far post from the edge of the penalty area. Strikers just crabbing the ball up the field now over on the Bill Waddell stand. The crowd have been getting behind strikers here tonight, and they'll be very pleased with the end result and the certainly performance in this second half. Here's Beagley though, City trying to close the gap. It's a good run by Nathan Beagley. He continues his run after laying the ball off to Max Mikula. Mikula's going to cut back inside. Left-footed ball to Halliday. Halliday shapes to shoot. He does shoot. It's deflected wide for a corner. That was really flying from Scott Halliday. Another opportunity for Brisbane City. Urgency somewhat lacking, though, for a side chasing 2 goals. Perhaps they know time is as good as up. It's going to be the youngster, Mikula, swinging the ball in left-footed. It was Alex Fechner, his one-time youth colleague, at the near post. Fechner again with the head. Raymond. King. Shot goes in by Mikula. I think Alex Fechner's appealing for a penalty. I think he has a case. It looked like there was plenty of arms over the top of him. Strenuous appeal by young Alex Fechner. But Matt Skinner unmoved. Hugely entertaining evening's football here. Matt Skinner just demonstrating to Alex Fechner why it perhaps wasn't a penalty, with a series of movements. Reece Raymond frustrated with that decision and then showing a little bit of dissent. Skinner letting it lie. Deep into stoppage time now. What's been a fantastic advert for National Premier League's Queensland football. That is the full-time whistle from Matt Skinner. You can hear the roar of the crowd here at Perry Park. Brisbane Strikers coming from 2 goals down to pull off a sensational victory over Brisbane City. City led by 2-0 at half-time, but the comeback was brutal in its efficiency from the 2-time premiers. They consolidate their spot in the finals, a place they've ended up on so many occasions over the last decade. 13 years in a row it's been since they finished outside the top 4 in any league that they've been in. The two teams shake hands on what has been a wonderful night of National Premier League's Queensland football. City still winless at Perry Park in the National Premier League's Queensland era. That's 8 games now, 7 defeats and 1 draw, ending a 4-game undefeated streak. Strikers, however, they go from strength to strength. That's their 5th win in a row, 6 games unbeaten now. And after a slow start, it is the Strikers who've found their strengths. Thank you so much for joining us here at Perry Park. This has been a double take production for Football Queensland. I've been Simon Smann. It's been an absolute pleasure to bring you all the action. Check out the highlights during the week on the Football Queensland Facebook page. And we'll see you next week on the next live stream on Football Queensland.